Cinema Worms.
Discussing everything from Grima Wormtongue to the Shy Halud.
I'm Sabib.
And I'm Linz.
And this is Cinema Worms Podcast.
So I'd like to talk about another film that I saw and you didn't. This just makes me sound like I have so much time on my hands, whereas you're like a busy and normal important person, and I do nothing but watch movies all day and work on my PhD, which actually is not far from the truth, so fair enough.
Not fair, but okay. I'm glad you got to see some, on your week away, some interesting films.
So I will be talking today about Eenie Meanie, which is a film that I had not really heard about much at all. I was really surprised to see it come up in the selection. It is a heist thriller with a comedic edge, written and directed by Sean Simmons in his feature directorial debut. He does not seem to have done that much. I couldn't find that much about him. Now, it stars Samara Weaving. I like Samara Weaving. To me, she looks like if somebody put like the soul of a very anxious baby rabbit inside Margot Robbie's body. That is the energy she gives. I am completely here for it. That is my type. I really liked her in Ready or Not.
I love Ready or Not.
Ready or Not is so good. I saw it twice in cinemas. That's how much I liked it. I actually think I've seen it again, like streaming, because it's just so good. There's something about her that I really, really like. So she plays Edie, a woman whose ex-boyfriend is in trouble with a local crime boss. And at the start of the film, we get a little flashback to Edie's teen years where her dad, who is played by Steve Zahn, I always remember Steve Zahn for playing Phoebe's gay ice dancer ex-husband on Friends. I'm sure he's had other roles that were very important, but that's, as soon as I see his face, I'm like, Phoebe's ex-husband. So her dad pressures her to try to outdrive the cops by, like when they've been pulled over, by driving presumably quite recklessly. It's a skill that he taught her and one that is handily relevant in the plot going forwards. So the easiest way to think about Eenie Meanie is it's kind of like a Baby Driver.
I was looking at this poster that you have up, and I'm like, I literally thought Baby Driver.
It literally has it's like imagine girl Baby Driver. And I hate Ansel Elgort, so I would have preferred that anyway. So basically, she, in order to help her ex-boyfriend, who is, has been a kind of a long-standing part of her history, even though he is just one of those guys that you're like, oh Jesus, like I wouldn't leave you in charge of like a single banana, like you would screw it up. She agrees to be the getaway driver for a casino heist. And that, of course, goes as well and as badly as you would expect. This guy is a liability. Everything he kind of touches, in fact, the things that he is not doing or not part of go much better than the things that he is. He's kind of a problem the whole time, but you can see that she genuinely kind of has affection for him, and there's also spoilery stuff going on. So it wasn't amazing, but I sort of enjoyed it. It was short. I like a heist film. There wasn't a lot of heisting really going on. I'm not always a fan of a driving film,
That's why you didn't want to see F1.
Well, we just didn't have time, I think.
Yeah, but you didn't like really prioritize it, maybe because...
No, I've been asking to see it now that it's on streaming, actually.
I thought, I was just going on the car theme that you presented.
Yeah, I mean... Well, I have been burned by having to sit through Ansel Elgort. But no, I was actually quite excited about F1. But the thing is, I wanted to see it at the cinema when it was out in the 270-degree screen, because I saw Gran Turismo there, and I actually did like Gran Turismo. And I thought that was really neat to have that kind of full experience of a car. But I feel like if you're going to have a screen that's three walls around you.
It's like you want the full experience of this sort of action movie.
So I literally just couldn't fit it in at the time. I think I had a deadline. I think I was handing a book in.
You would literally schedule. Lynn schedules most of our movies like it's like your job.
It is. It's my little admin assistant job to schedule the films and put them in the calendar and then herd you to them with appropriate snacks and but then I get control of the films that we see. To your detriment to my detriment to everyone's detriment.
Because of my own laziness.
Yeah. But you know, that must make it kind of exciting for you. Anyway, so I don't know that I would bother recommending Eenie Meanie to you. I think if it was on, you don't necessarily have to get up and walk away, but there's nothing really about it that hugely recommended to me. It was quite funny in places, but I cannot now remember any of the jokes, and it's only been 3 days. So that's not a great sign. But, you know, if you're really into kind of car films, heist films, if you are a Samara Weaving super fan, and frankly, I would understand that, then, you know, go and see Eenie Meanie. So today we're going to be talking about a film that has been slightly contentious in our household, Eddington, written and directed by Ari Aster.
We love a controversy, yeah.
Yeah, it just in this house.
Yeah, we need some excitement in our lives.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. So Eddington stars Pedro Pascal, who you cannot fail to have seen in at least one film or show, including this year's Materialists and Fantastic Four, last year's Gladiator sequel, and the frustratingly horny yet completely unsatisfying Drive Away Dolls. I just have such a bee in my bonnet.
He was in Drive Away Dolls?
I don't even remember him being
I think he did a cameo. Also, The Last of Us.
I hate Drive Away Dolls.
Yeah.
And, of course, the TV show The Last of Us. And it also stars Joaquin Phoenix, who was in Ridley Scott's original 2000 film Gladiator crossover, as well as many other films, including 2023's Beau is Afraid, and both Joker and its weird sequel, Joker Folie à Deux.
I'm going to shout out, I like Joker too. Y'all can suck it.
Our divorce is pending. So Eddington begins with a simple enough premise. I actually want to get into an argument with you about the Joker comment.
I hate Joker 1, love Joker 2.
Oh, it's
End of story.
I mean, I didn't like either of them. These are the wrong opinions. Anyway, Eddington begins with a simple enough premise. It is May 2020. Pedro Pascal, slightly smarmy mayor, wants everybody to wear masks to prevent the spread of potential COVID, even though COVID apparently has not yet come to Eddington, while Joaquin Phoenix's mumbling sheriff thinks that the idea of being asked to wear a piece of cloth over his face is an insult to his human rights.
Good, very precise intro. You could have gotten into all of the many threads of this film.
And there are
many. Which definitely could be one of the flaws, that you have threads of COVID denialism, conspiracy theories, Antifa, those anti-racist protests that arose after George Floyd.
Well, actually,
AI.
Yeah, let's give a general opinion each, and then let's do a spoiler part, because I do think that this is one of those films that I think we both really want to talk about the spoiler parts, but let's do a more general one for our listeners first, so that if anybody doesn't want to hear those parts, they can kind of stop.
Okay. The thing is with this film is that it's batshit, it's insane, and has got probably too much going on yet. So, I liked it more than Lynn's. Short story. It's quite slow in the beginning. I found that it just felt like sort of you're just following this sheriff around while he's being a dick, and you're in New Mexico. It's dusty. There's not much going on. It definitely kicks into high gear in the second half.
I actually liked the dust. That was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. It did. Yeah. Or Texas, New Mexico.
I like a dusty landscape.
Yeah.
Pleases me.
So that for me kind of made it hard to get into, and I will say emotionally I was not moved by this film really one bit almost. Perhaps we can get into the teenage characters and how there is a sense of real flawed humanity in them, but it is sort of almost like a series of these, what do you call them? It's not caricatures, vignettes. It's vignettes, when you have someone who's sort of just like a stand-in, a prototype almost of a character.
Like an archetype.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of the characters are archetypal, which isn't necessarily a flaw. I know that Ari Aster went around interviewing people, so I feel like you just put them in the film.
Wow, okay.
And I'm not emotionally engaged in that. But what I do find interesting about the film is that you remember Alex Garland's Civil War? They're completely different films because Alex Garland makes a more realistic sort of film.
Yeah. I actually didn't even think about that comparison. That's a really good one. Yeah. Okay.
It is. It's almost like they're sort of complements to each other. While Civil War was deeply upsetting to many people, and I think it stuck with us for days. This is more like a laugh out loud satirical take on how fucked up America is at this point in time. And it's hilarious, it's cynical. There are themes of paranoia around health and government, and there's also a sense that the thing that should make people the most paranoid, the AI plant, is like sort of looming in the background. That was clever. And then also it's just sort of viewing in this almost amoralistic way these characters and how paranoid they are, but then in the last third the film itself becomes deranged and paranoid. Interesting take. I would say it's willing to grab onto things that are very controversial and just laugh out loud. I can't believe you did that. And I'll have a lot to say about the white anti-racists, because that triggered me. I thought that was like so funny. Go ahead.
I mean, that was quite funny. So I'm going to be pretty harsh about this film. I thought it was a narrative disaster. It failed to grip me to begin with, in an emotional way, same as you. And once it started to actually get interesting, it took far too long to meander to a conclusion. The satire, when it was happening, I agree, was pretty funny, it was pretty good, but it was really lost in the mess of everything else. The Guardian called it a, quote, tedious COVID western, unquote, which feels about right. And poor Emma Stone, who plays Joaquin Phoenix's wife, is given absolutely nothing to work with. Why did you even cast her? What was the point? Anyway, it doesn't say anything new or particularly insightful. I was left wondering why Aster bothered to make it at all. It was smug when it thinks it's smart. It is messy when it thinks it's neat. It is boring when it thinks it's action-packed. It is far too long, and I find myself itching to leave, which almost never happens. It is one of my bottom 3 films of the year, if not bottom 2. I would rather sit through Death of a Unicorn again than see Eddington a second time. And I think I came out of it with the strong sense that, as you said, there were too many narrative threads going on, and normally that can be like almost a good thing, that there's so much going on that you kind of want more. But the problem with this is there's so much going on and he doesn't go into them in any proper depth. It felt really, I'm 14 and this is deep. I wish he had been given the space to, even in a TV show, if this had been like a miniseries, like an 8-hour miniseries, I would really have enjoyed seeing how each of those things played out in much more depth. That would have been really, really interesting to me. As it was, I think he needed someone to help him cut this down and be like, okay, but you can't say everything at once if you're not going to say it well. You need to like cut 1 or 2 of these things out. So shall we get into the spoiler section now? So anyone who doesn't want to hear spoilers for Eddington should stop listening now. All right, hit me with your spoiler take.
Okay, so the plotline of the young teenage guy,
oh god, yeah,
white guy,
that was really funny, to be fair,
was funny. That was maybe one of the most effective parts of the film. I thought that was smart, but not necessarily in a complex way. Just it's the way it captures the absolute cynicism and twisted nature of like morals and what's it called, the kind of thinking that pulls people to like the far right is really fascinating, because you see this young white kid who kind of just like wants attention from girls, trying to ape like the anti-racist stuff,
which is, by the way, that the white girl who's doing a lot of that stuff at the protest, it's so performative. She's saying all the right things, but and at the same time I'm like, do you really comprehend the things that you're saying? Like,
her character was
it was chef's kiss, like absolute perfection.
Really
that part, that was the one thing that I was like, you did actually really nail this. Like you
weirdly this movie captures more about racism, or the idea, there aren't even that many black people, the idea of anti-racism and its hypocrisy so well. And that's very complicated, but you know, as a therapist during this time, I had a lot of young white liberal patients who were just presenting their guilt about racism, and it's almost like their discomfort and their need to perform. And then they dropped that later. And it was just like, I'm here comforting you about your like perception of like superficial perception of white privilege. It was just so uncomfortable. So, and then
it all gets dropped after, you know, like despite the fact that like
then he turns.
Yep, and then he turns, of course,
very violently.
Yeah, into the trad wife.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
What the fuck? And you know, that was really interesting. So of course I'm Scottish. I'm kind of removed from that. It's not to say we don't have racism in this country, because of course we do, but especially like Scotland and Britain more as a whole, we tend to be more concerned with class. Class is like what race is to you guys. Like it's more that's the intrinsic underlying thing that dominates our society largely, because I suppose there haven't been as many people of color there. But it's really interesting to see how it's performed, how they are like arguing for someone else's privilege, and at the same time acknowledging that they don't have any privilege, but also acknowledging at the same time they are the ones doing the talking. And I just wanted to be like, shut up then.
All they want to do is talk. You're absolutely right.
I was like, well then shut up and let other people talk. Like, you don't, like, honestly, the best thing white people can do is shut the fuck up, guys. Just be quiet. You don't actually have to say, like, and well, maybe you do have to say, I don't know, I don't live in America, but like, I feel like it's absolutely wild to be like, you have to say, you know, like, all this performance stuff, like, I'm not racist and blah blah, and I'm like, okay, we accept that, but like, you should say it and then be quiet. If you really mean it, then stop talking over black people.
Yeah, literally.
Like, literally, like, stop talking about how you should stop talking. Just stop talking. It's real easy to shut your mouth.
So funny.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the third act, fourth act, arrival of Antifa.
Well, before we get to that, can I just say that there was one part in the film that I literally out loud almost said, "Oh my God, Zabib's gonna hate this," and it's
sorry, before Antifa shows up.
Get that.
This film, slow burn, then, bam.
Then Pedro Pascal gets shot.
Sheriff murders the mayor, Pedro Pascal, and his son.
And I literally almost, if there was not that many people in the cinema, it was pretty quiet, and I actually had to put my hand over my mouth, because the first thing I thought was, Zabib's going to be so mad, because you don't like something unjust happening to someone that you don't really see a point of it happening. And I thought you're going to be mad about this character. You don't like to see characters die.
Yeah, but I kind of was like prepared by that point that this film is...
Because you weren't emotionally connected, but I think had you been, you would have been really pissed.
It was shocking, and everyone gasped in the theater, the sparsely populated theater. So, okay, then the sheriff, this disgruntled, basically supremacist character, goes on a murder spree, and then we have the arrival of Antifa. I can give my take on that now that I've thought about it and heard what Ari Aster may have been trying to do. What did you think of that?
I mean, again, it's sort of hard to say, because from the outside, this American political thing looks completely insane. It's all theater, but it just looks like, okay, Antifa is just anti-fascist, which on the surface sounds like a pretty great thing. But it's being held up as a kind of boogeyman. It's like the sort of the boogeyman of the left. Like, oh, you want to be liberal, but you don't want to be Antifa. That's bad. And I'm like, all right, you know,
what are you even talking about? Okay,
you will just do anything to demonize like people who want just like everyone to just be free and maybe stop murdering each other. But okay, sure. Please tell me everything.
I didn't understand why he had Antifa come in the way he did, so dramatically on a plane with just ready to murder, so like just with all their assault weapons and whatnot. I was like, that's insane. That's not really a thing.
Yeah.
Only later did I realize, like, oh yeah, it's not a thing. This is like a commentary.
Yeah.
Of like the boogeyman.
Yes.
And it's completely absurd.
So I think maybe you can sort of shed some light on this, because I think when I saw, when the sheriff is, after he kills Pedro Pascal, he's like spray paints like Antifa stuff on the wall to point that way. And I think at that point I was like, oh, I understand why he's doing this and who he's blaming. And then when Antifa like actually showed up, I was like, I feel like I'm missing some things here.
I
Like,
did
but,
too.
yeah.
It's
Like,
I think Ari Aster was attempting to basically show the paranoia, like you're saying, of this idea of Antifa or some liberal, like, threatening force that's rising the other to come kill us all.
Yeah, again, I feel like that sort of had they not come in at the end and had it ended differently, I think I would have liked the film more. That to me felt okay. I understand what you're saying that he was doing there, but again, this contributes to my the I'm 14 and this is deep impression, where Ari Aster sits alone in a little basement with a single light scribbling, and he's like, I'm gonna have Antifa come in, and like it's so subversive, and it's really gonna, like, because they don't even exist. And I'm like, I just feel like, are you not maybe a better filmmaker than that? Like, the thing is, okay, I didn't like Beau Was Afraid. Like, I didn't enjoy it, any part of it as a film, but it was a pretty good film. You know, I understood narratively what was going on, even if I didn't enjoy the experience of it at all. I was so glad when the ending happened, but I understood what he was doing, even if I didn't like it. I don't understand this film. And I do know what he's doing, but I don't understand it.
I think that's absolutely a good description of it, and I can see why you feel that way. Absolutely. These are very different films. I didn't like this, but I understood what he was doing, and there were parts of it that were much more unnerving and effective. So, yeah, please see it. We could talk about this for ages.
We literally could. We could deconstruct it forever. But I think, yeah, it would be. I'm definitely interested to see what other people. I mean, critics are one thing, but the critics always go one way or another. It's whatever. But I am curious about what real people think of this film, especially real American people who have lived through those times as well.
Yeah.
It's also kind of awkward to talk about this week because there has been a mass shooting in Minneapolis, which is where the Joy Lord that was happening in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So I feel like when we both saw this like a couple of weeks ago, and now that we're actually recording, I'm like, oh Lord, like it's, you know,
more timely than ever.
It's more timely. It's, you know, it's something happening that's cyclical. Of course, you know, these shootings seem to happen like every couple of days, but it never stops being shocking and horrible.
Yeah, I don't think, one final thing, that people are like, oh, this is a mirror, and he actually described it sometimes as a mirror, that it's like apolitical. It's not.
It's absolutely, it's very political.
That's insane.
You can't talk about politics and pretend it's apolitical.
Or that it's like both sides ism.
No.
I don't think it is personally.
I mean, he is skewering both sides, but I don't think it's both sides ism. I agree.
Yeah, agreed.
Then again, the ending does. I'm like, in hindsight, I don't think the ending endorses anything particular. I think it just presents it. But I do think that there's something really missing about this film to me, and it could have been. I'm not quite sure what it was, which is unusual. Normally I come out of a film knowing pretty much exactly what it was missing and what I wanted to see. Is my editor brain at work. But with this, I came out thinking, I don't know what it was missing, and I don't know what it needed. But I feel like had it had whatever that, you know, kind of mysterious element was, I think this might have been one of my top films of the year, had it nailed that thing, that elusive thing. But I don't think that it did. I think this is a film in search of something and does not